Welcome to SEC Football Live here on the 440 Sports Network, brought to you by ML Rose. That is Trey Wallace of Outkick. I am Braden Gall. Trey, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hello.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Whatever, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. Just getting some stuff prepared. Gonna get down to South Florida where it's gonna be 54 degrees, and yeah, looking forward to getting the season wrapped up.
Yeah, high of 33 in Nashville on Thursday.
Dude, I'm missing the snow, bro. Like, I'm a snow chaser in this area of East
me too.
Tennessee, and I'm missing it, man. I'm so mad. They're supposed to get like 6 inches, 7 inches starting
about
tomorrow.
About 6-7 inches. Okay.
6'9", 6'7".
All right. So today on the show, first of all, safe travels to you. I
Thank you,
do looking forward to that nice weather down there in South Florida. I want to ask you later on who will be on the top tier at this stage of the offseason in the SEC. I want to know, like, Texas is gaining is garnering all the headlines, and I'd like to know from you who else is in that conversation. We'll discuss all the quarterbacks that have transferred, some of the teams that have made big moves in the portal as it's kind of starting to settle out a little bit as quarterbacks kind of make their choices. A lot of guys going with their coaches to other new places, which is, of course, makes total sense. So we'll get into that. Yeah. I also think there's this Big Ten SEC thing. We've talked about it on this show. I don't actually care which conference is better personally, but I do think that we've got to have a conversation about, like, the SEC 3 straight years without having a team in the national championship game is worth mentioning and discussing what's going on. So we'll discuss that a little bit later on. We'll talk Indiana and Miami, and is it even possible for Miami to stop Indiana? I think that they're hearing that a lot over these 10 days and 11 days are going to be playing. I think they're going to play very well, Miami. But how can they stop Indiana? We'll get to that. And we'll start with Ole Miss. So make sure you check out ML Rose, of course. 8 great locations across the mid-state area. Fantastic place to watch games. Fantastic place to drink beer. Fantastic place to eat burgers and wings and spicy cheese curds. It's a very chill vibe. I go to the one in East Nashville because that's close to my home. We take the kids. The kids love it. The dog likes the back patio. Got a little fence back there, little AstroTurf, so you can hang out back there. Very nice, heated in the winter and fans in the summertime. So constantly looking out for their customers. So make sure you go check out ML Rose all across Nashville, the place to watch football and drink cheap, delicious craft beer.
And take your dogs.
My children, by the way, I don't know why I just thought of this. My children love that stupid commercial where the guy barks at his boss in the board meeting. Speaking of the dogs,
yeah, that's actually a pretty good one. I've seen it.
They're always like, stop, don't fast forward. I was like, kids, we don't watch commercials, even though Dad's business is built on commercials.
Bingo. Nope, not happening. Sorry.
Without a hint of irony, I tell them we don't watch commercials.
Don't do it. We're fast forwarding.
Right. If you want to get involved in the show, please. If you got questions about the portal, about next year, about early rankings, about the national championship, about the Big Ten SEC thing that's going on, please let us know. Jump into the comment section. Please share the show while we are live on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Central.
Or if you want to ask about that sham of an offer for Ty Simpson, sure, have at it. That was not. He wasn't offered $6.5 million.
Okay, but it's a fictional report in your opinion.
What do you think the player's agent is going to want to put out there, that he turned down this exorbitant amount of money because his legacy is tied to Alabama and rah and all this stuff? But when he admitted at the same time that he was probably going to transfer to Tennessee if Nico would have left, so much for that, real hard. I want to be an Alabama guy. Nothing against Ty. I love Ty's a great kid, but
the headline,
that was an inflated article.
The headline doesn't hit as hard as they say. If it's like Ty Simpson turns down $700,000 to go to the NFL,
right? Like, yeah, he wasn't. Ty Simpson was not offered 6.5. Ty Simpson is not that good.
All right, there's not really much to say about Indiana, Oregon, so I don't really have much to ask you about that. But we can talk Ole Miss because I want to talk. This is going to lead us into the Miami Indiana game.
Yeah,
because I think Ole Miss was actually given. I mean, first of all, I want to know big picture what this story is all about with Ole Miss and what the future holds for the Rebels. But back to the game just for a moment, after waiting a couple of days and kind of processing it and thinking through it and reading the box scores and studying the numbers, I rewatched it again just to make sure I got all this right. I actually think Miami didn't play that great of a game fundamentally, and I think they gave Ole Miss a ton of opportunities through a bunch of different things to come back and be in that game. What a glorious, glorious second half and fourth quarter. I wished Ole Miss played in every playoff game this year. But Miami dropped 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
They didn't really throw the ball, even though Carson Beck was very good in the fourth quarter. They didn't really run the ball either when they should have clearly stuck with that the entire time. They missed a 4th field goal in the playoff. 10 penalties. Like Malachi Toney had like the greatest incomplete pass in the history of humankind.
Yes.
But my point is like a great game. Ole Miss was in it and could have won it. Yes, I think it's ironic that the Miami Hurricanes advanced to the national championship game because a pass interference call wasn't made in the end zone or a wrong call on a PI. So if you're an Ole Miss fan, I get you're upset about that final play. But
it wasn't a Hail Mary either. That's not a Hail Mary.
No, it wasn't, and which is why I think it should have been called.
Yeah.
And so I just the more I process it, the more I think, man, Miami didn't even play their best game. Ole Miss had opportunities, was given opportunities by a Miami team kind of doing stuff it shouldn't have done. And so I don't know if that means I'm disappointed in Ole Miss. I'm not. I think it was a great game. But that's how I come away with it, is that Ole Miss was given the chance. They had the opportunities, couldn't get a stop on Carson Beck on that final drive or the drive before that. And even though Miami made all these mistakes, Ole Miss still couldn't capitalize. It's not a knock on Ole Miss at all. It's just that's sort of my takeaway of the game broadly when I walk away from watching it again.
It's reality because Miami shouldn't have stopped running the football in the third quarter. I don't understand why they started getting away from that. They were dominating the line of scrimmage, and you get an 8-up clock. Also, just snagged 2 of the 4 interceptions that you dropped. And this game's probably, I don't know, but I'm saying 10-point Miami lead. You know what I mean? Like, credit to Ole Miss. Okay, they hung around. They had a chance to win it, and I give them ton of credit. The story that will be written in 6 months about really everything that transpired, it's going to be great. Can't wait to write it. But at the same time, I think Miami probably should have won that game by a little bit more. And I think that you could tell. I hated the whole thing with the broadcast. Oh, Ole Miss is running out of gas. That's all they kept talking about in the fourth quarter. Well, no, they weren't running out of gas because Miami stopped running the damn football. So they weren't tired. Like I didn't buy that part.
You're saying because Miami had that. You're saying that the broadcast was looking. That was the Fowler Herb Street broadcast. I think.
Yeah, they just kept saying, "Oh, they're running out of gas. They're running out of gas," and I'm like,
it's because they had like 35 minutes time of possession going into the fourth quarter,
right? And I get
and the
that
defense
part.
was on the field for a long time. And guess what happened? The defense couldn't get stops in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that part. But I'm saying we're going back to the running the football aspect of that game, and I think Miami sincerely screwed that part up. And I think the dominant line of scrimmage part, I just thought, the way Miami was getting after Trinidad, but then he was able to complete some passes. Like I was amazed. I was like, honestly, I was like, this is the Sugar Bowl all over again. Here we go. Like this is about to line up. So
it was even better. It was even better than the Sugar Bowl, which is crazy to say. With 5 lead changes in the fourth quarter, like crazy stuff.
Yeah, all right. I agree to disagree on that one. I think they coached a really well game. I think Miami's just ferocious front seven was a problem, and then Carson Beck, coming clutch at the end and just running it in, and so I hat tip to Ole Miss, but from my Miami standpoint, they're going to be a problem on Monday night, and I think a lot of people are just sitting here thinking Indiana is about to roll. I got news for you.
All right, save it. We'll discuss it because I want Trinidad Chambliss is in the process at time of taping of trying to get this extra year. I think if Trinidad, because the question is what's next for Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, what's next? Because this was if Indiana wasn't happening this year, this Ole Miss story would be one of the greatest stories ever told in college football history, and it still is. And they were one play away from making it the greatest story ever told because of the Lane Kiffin saga and all of this. And I have, and maybe this is like recency bias, maybe it's historical context bias, maybe I'm just dead wrong about this. I have real concerns about the sustainability of the program moving forward. And it's not because they're not going to have a good team this year, and it's not because they can't spend in the portal unlike they used to be able to, that the boosters aren't motivated after the Lane Kiffin thing. Like, it's not about that. I do think at a program like Ole Miss, the coach is so much more important than you think. And I mean, look at Indiana. And so I am if Trinidad Chambliss is not coming back, and I know they went and got Deuce Knight in the portal, and that's interesting to me. But the staff on offense is gone. Kiffin, the maestro of the offense, is gone. Simmons is gone. Trinidad Chambliss is gone. They're going to lose some pieces. I know Lacey's back, but I don't think in the short term they take a huge step back. But I am concerned about a slow erosion over the next 3 years that puts Ole Miss kind of back in that 6-6 range. And is that fair? Am I wrong to think that? You can prove me wrong if you want.
I think in this era where if you're able to spend money, you're going to have the talent. Now, the biggest thing is, can they have 22 star players? No. And I think that's what will come back to bite them. But again, Ole Miss has gone through so much and has put together teams with rosters where their 22, in my opinion, didn't line up to others within the conference and then others outside the conference. So I look, the whole Trinidad thing, just to get it out there, I think the state of Mississippi is going to grant him an injunction and he would be able to come back. Obviously, that's in my opinion. When I say obviously, because of looking at all the medical records that I guess Ferris State left out, or no, they didn't leave out. The NCAA left out of their statement. Tom Mars is a pit bull, and it just so happens that the other attorney is the owner of the Grove Collective. Okay, so putting all that, I do think he gets an injunction to come back. I think that when you're talking about in 3 years, I think how motivated after next season are these boosters going to continue to be able to fund this type of roster? Right. And also at the same time with Pete Golding, I don't know what to expect from Pete Golding. All we saw was a 3-game sample. And so, does that mean he's going to – and also, by the way, he had Charlie Weiss Jr. with him as an OC. Let's see what the offense is going to look like over the next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So I don't disagree with you. I don't think they're going to drop to the Arkansas range where they're 6-6. And that's not a shot at Arkansas. I'm just basing that off the past couple of years. I think Ole Miss has an opportunity to kind of stay up there, but
I guess dropping from 10-2 or 11-1 to 8-4, a la Tennessee this past year.
Yeah,
it's a real fine margin, man. It does not take a lot to fall to 8-4.
No,
it does not. It does not take a lot, and I think falling to 7-5 is not. It doesn't take a lot,
and I think they'll still be in contention for the playoff because the playoff in 3 years is probably going to be bigger. 24 teams.
It'll be 16 for sure, starting next year.
If the Big Ten gets their way, it'll be 24 in 3 years.
If Chambliss is back, Ole Miss will be very dangerous. I don't know if I put them on the top tier of the SEC, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on. So I just am curious where Ole Miss goes from here. It is truly remarkable what they accomplished, the galvanized locker room and the coaching staff dealing with the drama and the distraction to be within a pass interference call and one play of potentially making it to the national championship game is an extraordinary story, and everybody involved should get credit for it. And I'm trying to do that and not rain on the parade, but I'm just going with my honest instincts on this. This doesn't feel like something that's going to stay 11-1 for much longer. That's how I feel.
It's going to take a minute to digest everything that we just witnessed. Like, to be honest with you, like me, like I'm taking a step back for a couple of weeks and then I'll write the story on everything that happened, and give more details. There's a lot of details that folks don't know right now, but I'm just saying overall as a story, you can't script that type of stuff. And so, and the fact that they were like, that's a big to do. I end up with this part. It's a very big to do that they're retaining some of these players on the roster with the finances that are available, because Kejuan Lacey had 2 offers of 1.8 out there. Ole Miss came on the back end, bumped it up just a little bit to be able to keep him. I just think that means, there's 2 things. Ole Miss was spending pissed off. Second of all, they wanted to make sure that they were at least set next year in Pete Golding's first year as a true head coach.
That's correct. Z Dean, good to see you, my guy. Golding made comments saying that he didn't really want to be the head coach. He'll do it, but wasn't something he was looking for. Losing Lane will hurt recruiting. I tend to agree with all of that. I think Golding wants to be a head coach.
Golding wanted to be the coach, but Keith Carter, I can just go ahead and tell you, was not planning on naming Pete Golding the full-time head coach when he walked into a meeting on Sunday morning. That was not what happened. Just in 30 seconds, Pete Golding rolled in there with a game plan like he's had for the last 4 years, just stacked in a binder somewhere, and he blew Keith Carter away.
Like Dabo Sweeney. Basically.
And he was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, you are prepared. And so that's why that happened. He was going to be named the interim, and then they were going to go try to find another coach. And then Pete Golding came in there, and just Keith Carter had no other move. Like that was the right play.
Josh Wright, good to see you. Says, would the state of Tennessee attempt to copy that injunction play? Obviously, I assume for Joey Aguilar.
But Joey Aguilar doesn't have a year where he had medical conditions and sitting on the sideline. And,
right.
Look, Tennessee's best scenario for Joey Aguilar is the injunction case that he's tied to Diego Pavia to.
Right.
But the problem is there's not going to be a resolution in that for at least 3 weeks, because the judge wants to, they're not going to have live testimony, but they want to hear it play out in front of him, and then he'll make a decision. Yep. The other thing is, guess what today is? Today's the day you have to declare for the NFL draft and sign the paperwork. So again, it's going to be a little interesting here.
Yeah. We'll have a good conversation next week about the rosters for
absolutely.
sure. Because I'm not all the way in on the portal yet, studying it. I think there's plenty of names that we can discuss today as it pertains to sort of the top tier of the SEC for next year, but we'll see. And Jess says IU. There we go. All right, that leads us to the national championship game. Look, Indiana favored by like 8.5. That number has gone. It started at 7.5. It's gone up. There is no reason to bet against them. There is no reason to pick against Indiana. There's no reason to pick against the psychopath Kurt Cignetti. There's no reason to pick against this team in any way, shape, or form. You and I both picked Oregon, and we're clearly right about that. I will say we can lay out today, though, how Miami could play to put itself in a position. One of the things that Ole Miss did really well, and I think Indiana will also do really well in this game, is take away Messidor and Bain from that in the pass rush because of the quick passing attack that Ole Miss delivered. They got 1 sack on Trinidad Chambliss in the first quarter, and they never really got to him after that. And I think that when you watch Fernando Mendoza in that offense, it is a lot of RPO, one read and throw kind of stuff. And I think that is the perfect way to attack a Miami defensive front. So I think that's one thing that's very concerning if I'm a Miami fan, not the least of which, of course, is the long list of how Indiana is just straight up better than Miami across the board.
I trust the quarterback situation more at Indiana than I do at Miami. Straight up.
I mean, we'll get to that too.
But. No. I know that, but what I'm saying is that you're right. I sit there and watch Indiana just pick apart Oregon's defense with 5-yard slants and bubble screens and a 10-yard out, and I was like, okay, and also they brought a little pressure on Fernando, but he stepped up in the pocket and made plays. Like I just, it's going to be tough for Miami, man. But here's the thing. They have such a good front seven. Like they're going to try to bring different blitzes against them. And I think that you could force them into mistakes. The other thing is that Indiana has a lot of weapons on the outside. Like this is just a well-oiled machine. And Kurt Cignetti is a freaking madman when it comes to, potential downfield threats. And if he's going to test like this, and then also like the other thing, there's going to be at least 35,000 Indiana fans in that stadium on Monday night. And
why doesn't Mark Cuban literally buy every ticket in the building and just sell them for like $200 a pop to Indiana fans? Like, why not stack the deck here if you're Mark Cuban?
Credit to Miami,
you got billions of dollars
for like shamming their fans by saying, "Hey, give us $100 for a donation to season tickets next year, and you can enter the lottery." But they only had about 500 tickets to actually give away, and like 5,000 people signed up. So, good job on your scam yesterday. To get
dude, there are Indiana fans in Nashville telling me like, "Oh, I'm going to donate to." Like Indiana fans are going to end up buying Miami a cornerback in the portal,
yes,
so that they can all go to the game.
I mean, I just logged in just to see. Like, I wasn't buying tickets,
right.
I logged. Dude, there were 28,000 people in the queue, and that was
great.
Like 30 minutes. I was like, okay,
great.
They made their nut for 2026.
Jess got this right basically, and this is boiling the entire conversation down to about 5 words, and that is Miami cannot make mistakes. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. You got to play all the things we talked about in the game against Ole Miss, dropping interceptions, penalties, not pressuring the quarterback, going away from the running game when you probably shouldn't have. Shannon Dawson's got to be perfect. Like that, Mario Cristobal can't get in the way during the game, like all that stuff. If they play that game and Carson Beck is the Carson Beck we saw on those final few drives in the fourth quarter, then Miami's absolutely talented enough to beat Indiana. There's no question. So was Oregon, so was Ohio State, and so was Alabama, and that didn't really happen. Here we go. IU will lose. They haven't met a defense like ours all season. Miami will take away Mendoza's first read. It's pretty hard to take away I mean, Miami didn't do it to Chambliss, and so that quick, short passing game really neutralizes the pass rush. There's no question about that.
I'm curious to see how much pressure they can put on Fernando to force him into those decisions and how much they check out of it. Like that to me stands out.
Anthony, you might need to clarify some of this. Trey, do you guys believe that Raw Parker was being a little too hard, saying Indiana is bad for football because of the roster being basically the same age as the Packers in the NFL? So here's the other thing about
Parker.
Well, I think he's talking. I don't know who he's talking about. I don't care who's. I think the question is interesting, Anthony, which is, this Indiana team is absolutely flipping every paradigm and belief that I've had in 20 plus years of covering this sport. It's flipping and it's on its head. The blue chip ratio, not a factor for Indiana. The 5-star kids, not a factor for Indiana. The losingest team in power conference history, flipping it on its head. Like the whole 2 years going from nothing to the national championship and one of the most perfect seasons of all time and one of the more dominant seasons of all time. It is an unprecedented story. There is nothing like this in my career or maybe modern college football history that we can compare this to. Nothing.
Nope.
Not even Ole Miss or Texas Tech are like this.
Nope.
And so this kind of leads us. I don't want to go off the game yet, but like this is my issue with the Big Ten SEC thing. The SEC needs to solve some of its problems, whether it's head coaching. Maybe they're doing that. Lane Kiffin to LSU, John Summerall to Florida. Maybe they've gotten better coaches at Auburn and Arkansas. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Kentucky has a better coach. I don't know if Ole Miss has got Ole Miss doesn't have a better coach. I have questions about the SEC. I don't think that Indiana being dominant this year is somehow a testament to the Big Ten's decision and strategies on this. This is a one-of-one story that is not ever been replicable at any point during the sport. And if you look at the Big Ten, Ohio State, probably the second best team in America based on how they played against Indiana. Pretty good, but not as good as last year. Michigan, pretty good, not as good as they have been in the past. Penn State, way down, total failure this year. Michigan State fired its coach, way down. The worst Wisconsin team I've ever seen in 25 years. Like, we can keep going. All the power programs. Washington was fine. Okay. USC was fine. Nebraska was like, they're fine. They're good teams this year, but nothing special. So USC not achieving where it normally is. Oregon was very good. Ohio State was very good. And Indiana is this unicorn. So frankly, Ohio State losing to Miami is an indicator of all of this. The Big Ten wasn't better this year than it was last year. It's worse. So it's not a Big Ten problem. It's an Indiana problem. Does that make sense?
Don't forget, too, Indiana has 9 starters that started their career at James Madison. Okay, so like, no. What I'm saying is,
in key spots, like middle linebacker,
they bring on veteran guys that have been around the Cignetti program and how they run things for a long time. And that number actually started at 18. So you got to think about last year too. I think Indiana having all these older players per se, like, okay, we call them seniors, like that's it. Like with a COVID year.
BYU's been doing this for 100 years.
Right. BYU's got 28-year-olds on their squad with 3 kids. Like, stop. Like, this is just
grown-ass men. Yeah.
Right. Grown-ass men. Like, this is just Indiana having a bunch of veteran guys that in the college world now are 23 years old. That's it. I mean, so like, I don't, because they're full-grown men. Okay. Well, then that's a problem for the other teams that are having to start true freshmen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So going back to the game, I do think to Jess's earlier point, which is Miami has to play a near perfect football game, which I think is totally possible. They have the talent to win the game. They have the great defensive line. Mark Fletcher is a total joy to watch play football. Completely. Malachi Toney, what a fun weapon to watch. Like, they have so much talent, and when good Carson Beck shows up, they're good. They can't. But here's the thing. if all the things we just rattled off in the game against Ole Miss, missing a field goal, going away from the running game, 10 penalties, not being able to pressure the quarterback, dropping interceptions, all those types of things cannot happen if you want to beat Indiana. They just can't. And the problem with that analysis, Trey, is that if you have to describe Indiana in one word, it is called execution. I've never seen a coach, and this is what makes, I think, Cignetti great, and I think it's why he's a psychopath. Every single player has been coached almost perfectly to execute their job perfectly almost every time. And I know that's the goal of every coach. I don't think Saban could do that.
No.
Cignetti has figured out a way to maximize every role on his starting 11 on offense and defense and special teams at every turn in every situation. They are prepared for every situation. And I know that's what you say about good teams. This is on I'm trying to reiterate how another level this is. They are never behind the chains.
No.
They totally shut down Ohio State, Oregon,
Alabama.
And Alabama. Alabama can't run the ball, but they 69 carries for 174 yards, 2.5 yards a carry against three of the premier programs in college football in the last 3 weeks. They have annihilated them along the line of scrimmage.
And you got a quarterback who's thrown 8 touchdowns to 5 incompletions over 2 games.
They execute perfectly in every situation at every position, and it's hard to describe how efficient they are. And so I think that is like. And there's a handful of comments in here that I want to get to. So I'm trying not to skip all you guys, but I find it really interesting. Like Miami has to play a perfect game, and then Indiana has to do the things that they don't ever do, which is make mistakes. And Ohio State, somebody earlier, a Miami fan in the comments is saying, "Oh, they've never played a defense like this." Yeah, they have. Ohio State's better. Ohio State has a better defense.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, better than what Miami has at those two positions. Arvell Reese, better than what Miami has at those positions.
Did they forget
They're
that
loaded.
Indiana went to Eugene and beat Oregon earlier in the season against that Oregon defense?
The Ohio State game is the best thing that we've seen against Indiana all year.
Absolutely.
It's the best thing. And so Miami does have some pieces that match up with Ohio State defensively. Their defensive line is great. They've got good corners. Like, they've got the pieces to play a really good game on Monday night.
Keontae's badass, but what you're going to do is you're going to flood 2 over here, and you're not going to involve Keontae Scott. Like, that's what Indiana's going to try to do. Not saying it'll work.
Otto says, I'm not even a Hurricanes fan, but it doesn't take a genius to see that Miami is about to put belt to ass. What? Like, it doesn't take a genius to, like, okay, that phrase in my world, Trey, means that Miami is about to whip that ass. They're about to win the game.
Right.
I don't know how you can say that it doesn't take it. They're a 9-point underdog. What are you talking about?
Somebody's been hanging with Michael Irvin too much.
Can we get Michael Irvin an adult shirt? Can we get him an adult shirt, like an adult shirt?
He has to wear extra small from the Gap. Like,
not even the size. I'm just saying, like it all looks like my 7-year-old picked it out. Like the style and the size. Like
it looks like the starter brand from like 15 years ago started dressing him as well.
Like Ray Lewis, dressed like an adult out there. Looks classy.
Right. Act like you killed somebody before.
First of all, I don't actually give a shit what people wear on the sidelines. I don't care. If I was on the sidelines and I was a former player, I'd be wearing sweatpants and the sweatshirt.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ray Lewis is doing television and all that. Michael Irvin's down there to put on a show.
But the long sleeve T-shirt is just ugly. It's just an ugly shirt. Anyway,
right.
Okay.
God, Michael Irvin is such a.
Look at what do you think about this one? Indiana beat Ohio State. Miami dominated Ohio State. I don't know if I agree with that, but
no, I don't. No.
I think they were both pretty good wins by two good teams.
And Indiana got Ohio State a little bit earlier. Whatever. We could go on for days about that.
Yeah. Mendoza's a machine, says Jess. Hey, Jason, what's going on?
By the way, Indiana did the same damn thing to Oregon.
Yes.
First play of the game, interception, touchdown. We saw that against Ohio State as well. Like
Miami didn't dominate
doing it. Like
Miami didn't dominate Ohio State. Indiana dominated Oregon and Alabama. Jason, NIL is going to allow for more Indianas at the detriment of the SEC and everyone else. The days of stacking your team with gray shirts is over. The depth is going elsewhere. That is absolutely the modern era. But And what the Big Ten has figured out, and I think is actually the most important thing, because I actually think the Big Ten and the SEC being on an equal playing field, I've said this dozens of times, is really good and important and healthy for the game. I want a good rivalry between the Big Ten and the SEC that is competitive on the field. It's always been competitive on the message boards and on Twitter, but it's never been competitive on the field, other than basically Ohio State. And now it's more teams. And that is great for the sport. It is great that Indiana has figured out how to do this. It's great for the game.
I thought
the
Dan
SEC
Lanning,
needs to up its ante.
I thought Dan Lanning said it best during the press conference I don't know, my days are running into each other, last week before the game, when he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but not everyone is just wanting to go to the SEC now. He was asked about the Big Ten SEC. And the parity and everything shifting and all the players, you're kind of right in a sense of you're not being able to just stack talent now in the 2 to 3 deep and steal everybody away from Big 10 schools or Big 12 schools. I think the Big 10 has now figured out and done a really good job of being also able to spend the money that it takes to build these rosters out. And so back in the day when the SEC schools would just drop bags at the back doorstep, Indiana and Ohio State and all these other Big Ten schools have figured out a way just to drop the bag legally at the front doorstep and not have to hide it.
Look, the Big Ten, God bless them, they're not rule breakers. Okay, the SEC has been a rule breaker on this for decades and decades and decades, and that's fine. Whatever. SEC chose its own path. Big Ten chose its path, and the Big Ten is now saying, "Oh, we can do this. We can do this." They're like if you have 2 kids, I have 2 kids. One of them follows rules and one of them breaks rules. Right. And like one of them was the Big Ten and one of them's the SEC. And now that they both can legally go eat all the candy they want, they're both eating all the candy that they want. Like,
the reason why we have the term bagmen is because of everything that happened in the SEC.
Right.
Like straight up.
Remember, Urban Meyer went to Ohio State and started violating gentlemen's agreements in recruiting by recruiting a player who was, gasp, Trey, committed to another team. Like, that's like a Tuesday in February in the SEC.
That's nothing.
So again, when Iowa has been close to competing for a championship, never got there. Wisconsin was close for competing for a championship, never got there. Michigan State, a lot of these programs. Nebraska, not in the modern era of the BCS. These programs have major alumni bases and revenue and resources, and they are going to leverage them finally to win, but you still have to hire great coaches. I don't think the Big Ten top to bottom was better than the SEC this year. I think the SEC was better. But that doesn't mean that Indiana and the Big Ten don't have bragging rights if they win the championship.
Yeah.
3 different teams.
Right.
3 different teams in 3 different years. Dude, to the victory go the spoils. Thump your chest and tell the SEC how awful it is. I think 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place was better, but that's not how fans really decide this stuff. It's at the top that people decide this stuff.
Right. Who's hoisting the trophy at the end of the year? And if the Big Ten does it for a 3rd straight year, my goodness. Okay. Congratulations. Like, you're running things. Now, if the ACC does it, Lord have mercy. It's going to be some interesting CFP meetings over the next 6 to 12 months. Jim Phillips is going to walk in like this. What's up, boys? Yeah, we run this shit now. That's how we do it.
It's great that the Big Ten is doing what it's doing. I think I don't want to see the Big Ten be a little too big for its britches and try to put in like automatic qualifiers for the playoff. Like, that's still an extremely unpopular opinion about that. So those meetings are happening. Coming. I know, but it's
Sunday morning.
I know the meetings are this weekend, right? So
deadline is next week.
Yeah,
Sunday morning is a very, very big day.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to discuss about that next week. So, are you taking Miami or Indiana? You cannot bet against Indiana. I'm going to pick against Indiana for some friends. Friends. I'm
taking Indiana to win, but Miami covers.
I think that's the safe and hedging your bets. That's a cop out. I mean, that's what
no,
soft.
It's not. That's bullshit. That's not a cop out. That's not a cop out. I got to win some money somehow. No, I look, to be honest with you, I think Indiana is your national champion. I think that they cover as well. Maybe kind of get away in the late in the fourth quarter a little bit. And you know what? Rightfully undefeated. And you can make an argument that this might be the best all around football team. 2019 LSU, maybe.
It's funny we mentioned the 29. I feel like we forget how good Georgia was in 21.
I agree. I was there. I watched it. Crazy. Yes.
I mean,
I don't disagree.
Texas in 05 undefeated. Bama in 2020 and 09 were undefeated. Florida, Tebow's Gators were one of the best, most talented rosters. I mean, also murdered people, but like whatever.
Right, a lot of people.
I think I think I like those debates. You know, it's sort of like the greatest quarterback of all time debate. Like everyone's like, oh, who's in the conversation with Brady? And I'm like, there's lots of guys. Like John Elway is one of the great. I might put John Elway as the greatest quarterback of all time. I think Rodgers is as good as Brady, if not.
But
better
I know who the better quarterback
the
was. Maybe it's just I don't know, between the 2019 LSU Tigers and the 2025-2026 Indiana Hoosiers, and that was Joe Burrow.
No question. My point is that you can have these debates and they're fun to have at sports bars after a few beers and on podcasts. But at the end of the day, like really, it's about who's on the top tier.
Agreed.
Is really what matters. And so, like, what matters is who are among the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the NFL. You can have a conversation about those guys. If you start talking about modern teams in the modern era of college football, off the top of my head, 01 Miami is the best. 01 Miami is the best team. That's my opinion. 01 Miami is the best football team I've ever seen in college football. But on top of that, who's in that conversation? Well, LSU in 2019, Georgia in 21. You maybe one of those Clemson teams, maybe 18 Clemson. I don't know. I think Indiana's in the group. We don't know who would be.
And that's all you need, by the way. Right. Be in the group, but be in the conversation.
But if they win Monday, they are one of the greatest teams of all time, and it doesn't really matter if they could beat Georgia in 21 or LSU in 19 or Ohio. The other one that I think, Ohio State in 2014. One of the greatest football teams I've ever seen roster-wise, kind of like the 01 Miami team.
And by the way, we have to categorize these by different generations because these were different times when this stuff was happening.
Sure.
Like, and I mean, in this era, in this current NIL era and whatnot.
Didn't Miami play 11 games in 01? I think they played like 11 games. Indiana could be 16-0. That's an insane thing to think about.
It's an NFL schedule.
So, and Tornado says the media wants Indiana. So does Nick Saban. That's who wins. They got the refs. Okay. First of all,
you're kind of wrong about that.
I love the conspiracy theory, but that's garbage.
In the media, if I want a story on Monday night, Miami beating Indiana is my story. Like that.
Indiana's a great story too.
No. I'm talking about the game itself.
Just the game. If you want the clicks.
No, it's not about the clicks. It's the shock value. It's Indiana got this far and didn't finish the story type of deal. It's Kurt Cignetti now is going to become even more of a monster.
They're both great stories. Either way, no matter what happens, it's a great story. What I'll say to Tornado's comment is that the whole world outside of Miami fans is largely rooting for Indiana. Yes. Like I have Georgia fans in my life, Trey, that are like, rooting for Indiana so hard, can't root for Carson Beck. I'm like, dude won 30 games for you. Like, what are we talking about?
The whole Carson Beck thing could be talked about for days. People are not going to like him either way.
He's a very unlikable guy, and he's kind of through the looking glass on this, where now he's like becoming likable because he's so unlikable.
Right? Yeah, it's like a wrestler turning heel, and he still stays the fan favorite. Like it is what it is. Like look, give Carson Beck a lot of credit for being able to overcome going to Miami, and then at the same time, look at that comment.
Indiana,
at the same time, being able to overcome a breakup with the Cavender twin to put together this season.
Oh no,
is
that what did it? Is that the secret sauce?
Getting broken up by the Cavender twin.
Was it Cat Williams who said he's like, man, I have a strange affinity for chaos when talking about his favorite girlfriends.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, look, we all had that phase of life, Trey.
Right. Yeah.
I'm happily married now, but I did have that phase where chaos was the thing I was looking for on a Friday night. I just feel like dating a Cavender twin is total chaos. No, that's not a stabilizing factor in your life, right?
No. I mean, no, I'm not trying to sit here and bash the Cavender twins. But
Also, Carson Beck leaving Georgia, some of the strangest internet energy I've ever seen in my life. Just for the record, that whole Snapchat thing was like, I don't want that's not really starting quarterback energy. You know what I'm saying?
He was a pimp.
It's not QB1 energy. That's beta energy, Trey.
I get it.
Come on now.
I get it. Just stay off Snapchat. I don't know how this kid didn't learn to stop Snapchatting because he knows they're going to get screenshot and then posted immediately.
Yep, I hear you.
Idiot.
All right, I'm going to take Indiana, but I'm going to pick Miami.
You're such a douche.
Well, my buddies who are all Indiana grads are all like, keep picking against us. So I'm like, all right.
Can you legally bet in the state of Florida online? Or do I need to place my bets before I leave?
I don't know. I thought Florida was the state of like personal freedom, but maybe not.
You can't even smoke weed. Yeah. All right. Keep going.
All right. So quickly here, for the SEC to get back to challenging, of course, there needs to be teams that can compete for national championships, and they need to be on that top tier. So I want to know who are on the top. Who are the teams on the top tier in the SEC? I think Texas, in the way it's done the portal in the last few weeks, I feel like when you go get Cam Coleman, you go get a pair of running backs. You didn't really lose a whole lot of talent. You bring back Arch Manning, who continued to get better and better as the season went along. And, oh, by the way, for all the haters on Texas, they were a top 12 team at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so I don't like – it's not like Penn State or Clemson where they were unranked and lost like 6 times. This was a 9-3 team that beat some of the best teams in the country. They were just outside the playoff, and they bring a bunch of people back, their whole staff back, and they got some names in the portal. Cam Coleman might be the best player in the portal.
Cam Coleman and Wingo next year? Holy hell. And by the way, like the Arch stuff, Arch was overhyped before this season. Now I give all of you Texas fans the grace to go out and hype him up like he is the second coming of the Messiah. Like that, he can now be in the Heisman conversations for 2026. All the crap leading up to I tried to tell folks that you're getting ahead of yourself. This kid's going to take a while to learn how to play college football at a big-time level as a starter, and it took a while.
Sure.
But now, over the second half of the season, he looked like the guy, and he's turning into the guy. So have a way with the hype train.
I'm not saying I'm putting Texas at number 1 or top 5 or whatever. No. I think they're right now at this stage of the offseason, they're the favorite in the SEC if you want to make somebody the favorite. But they're on the top tier. They're on the contenders tier, the teams that could win the championship.
But we also have a lot of questions on quarterback positions at other schools too. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So I want to know who else, in your opinion, is on that tier right now. Again, we've got a whole offseason. We've got another signing day. We've got another portal window. Like we got all spring practice. Like all kinds of stuff's going to happen between now and the start of the season. But I'm just saying, as of January 14th, who is on that top tier with Texas?
I think Georgia's still there. With Gunnar Stockton coming back. I love what they have with the wide receiver. I love the defensive side of the ball and what they have coming back.
They've got more weapons around Stockton. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And that kid, by the way, is a baller. I was about to say LSU, but I don't
look. They go get Sam Leavitt in the portal, which is big news. But Leavitt was not all that great this past year.
Leavitt still hurt, by the way, folks. He's not going to be a go until the summertime. And you know what the last quarterback was that we just dealt with that, who went through stuff and couldn't do anything team related? Yeah, that was DJ Lagway in Florida.
Yeah. I think if Shambles comes back, I could be convinced that Ole Miss is on the top tier.
Ole Miss is top four. Alabama.
I mean, who else? I love that Tennessee.
Austin Mack.
Eddie says it's clearly Vandy. I think Jim Knowles. Curtis.
No, don't do that. It's going to take 2 years for Tennessee to install that defense. They're having a piece. I think they'll be better. I think they'll be better on defense.
Oh, I think what I'm saying is if you're looking at reasons to pick other teams.
Yes.
Like the reason to pick LSU is Kiffin and the offensive efficiency that will likely come with that. The reason to be high, like I'm not high on Tennessee, but I think Jim Knowles and bringing in some elite talent from Penn State on defense right away will get the defense to a new level very quickly. Agreed. I don't know if they've got the pieces on offense, frankly, at quarterback in particular, to do that yet. So we'll see. But I think Tennessee is sort of in that next tier down. I don't know what to make of Oklahoma. I don't know what to make of Alabama. I don't know what to make of some of the teams that were in contention. Vanderbilt, I think, is going to take a major step back. A&M, I think, could be very, very salty and be in this conversation as well. So I don't know who's on right now. I feel like it's Texas and Georgia, and I'm not sure if there's a third team in my opinion. But who you got?
Texas, Georgia. If Trinidad comes back, I would put Ole Miss back in there. LSU wise, I need to see if Sam Leavitt is healthy in June. And I still don't trust him coming off last season. And I know he only played a certain amount of games, but let's not act like he was a world beater. I'll throw one at you, and you're probably going to laugh. South Carolina could be a team in the top 5. With
they're
Sellers, offensive line, defense coming, but
they did invest at the most important position for Lenora Sellers, and they went and got the best offensive lineman in the portal, and there's not many proven commodities at that position.
And they got Dylan Stewart back.
And they have some high-end talent. They're also going to lose, Kilgore's going to be gone. Cissay's going to be gone. They've got some receivers if they stay. Is Harbor going to stay?
Yeah, and I think Swain hang around.
So they've got some weapons around Sellers on offense. I agree they take a major step forward.
Right.
But I don't know. Again, they feel like I can make the case for South Carolina just like I can make the case for Tennessee.
Yeah, no. I know. I wasn't talking about title contender.
The team that no one's going to talk about that I think is going to be really dangerous is Florida. I think Florida could be sneaky dangerous because I think Summerall is really good. He's got pieces to work with on the defense. I love Buster Faulkner. They went and got Aaron Philo, the quarterback at Georgia Tech. He's bringing his quarterback with him. He was the backup to Haynes King. I think Florida could be sneaky. I don't know if I'm willing to put them in the 8 or 9 win range yet, but I think Florida's going to be improved quickly.
I really like John Summerall and this staff they put together.
Yeah. It's a really good staff. I agree.
I really do. And I don't think DJ Lagway would have fit in this Florida team anyways.
They went and got Singleton from Auburn. Sneaky good weapon there. The other thing that's happened in the portal is of course the coaches brought their players with them. So I want to know what you think. Silverfield brings AJ Hill with him from Memphis to go to Arkansas. I don't know what that even means. Deuce Knight goes to Ole Miss. Of course, we talked about that. But Byron Brown going from South Florida to Auburn with Alex Golish, I think, is a huge win for them. They've been looking for a dynamic quarterback for what feels like forever at Auburn, and I think he's absolutely going to be the best player at that position that they've had in a long time. I think that gives them a chance to be good right away, not great. I don't know. I'm not a huge Alex Golish going to be a great elite national championship coach, but Brown is really
have a damn good offense.
They are going to score a ton of points. Yeah.
Yes. They're going to now. They're probably going to give up 40 on defense, but they're going to score a lot of points on offense.
Austin Simmons goes to Missouri, which will be really interesting. Bo Prabula leaves, of course, and transfers out. I don't know what Texas A&M. Rob's saying Texas A&M could be sneaky good. I don't
disagree, but Marcel Reed's got to take the next step as a quarterback for me to get fully.
Honestly,
I don't know how much the next step there could be for Marcel Reed.
A&M might be number 3 on my list, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
now that I'm working through this conversation,
I don't disagree with you. But
I think if Chambliss is back, I think you got to go Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, and A&M as the top 4.
And also, by the way, I think LSU could catch 3 losses next year.
I agree.
It's going to take a minute.
We didn't talk about Oklahoma at all.
I know that, but I whatever. Okay. Oklahoma defensively would be fine. I'm just worried about them on offense, man. I'm sorry. I wonder if it would have been better if there was a change at the top with Venables, if things wouldn't have turned around late in the season.
What do you I don't disagree with that. What do you think of Texas, Georgia 1 and 2, and then Ole Miss, A&M, and LSU is the next 3?
Yeah, I could see that.
With Kiffin.
Yeah. Because I think there's so many unknowns with Alabama right now.
And then your next tier is Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina. Is that the next tier?
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Okay. Again, this is all just preliminarily. This is all just early in the process.
Yeah, we haven't even finished the 2025 season.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. But I agree with you.
I assume Dante Moore, who could be the number 1 pick in the draft. A few of you guys are asking about him in the comments. With Raiola transferring to Oregon, I assume Dante Moore.
You'll find out news today.
Yeah, I mean, he's he and Mendoza are going to battle, I think, for the next 6 weeks on seeing who's the best quarterback. I don't know if the first round of the draft could roll around on the 23rd of April, and we might not know who the number 1 quarterback is.
No,
is how I feel about that. Because Mendoza has the NFL body and all that stuff. He does not run a complicated offense. They are not asking Mendoza to make a bunch of complicated reads and go through his progressions and get to the 4th read and work to the backside safety and use his eyes to move he doesn't do a lot of that high level complex stuff. I think Moore is better at that. The problem is Dante Moore cannot handle the pressure of a blitz.
Nope.
And Mendoza is very good in that situation. So they both kind of have a different weakness. Moore's also the other thing about Moore that I'm concerned about. He's not a small player. He's like 6'2", 210. But he does not break any tackles. Like he does not like throw a guy off his shoulder to like maintain his body and make a throw. He goes down way too easy. In fact, he went down like he got tripped a few times against Indiana. Like he just goes down too easy for
he might not be a small player, but he plays like a small player.
That's right. That's right. That's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's the right thing. Carson Beck is better than Fernando Mendoza. In what world has that ever happened? I appreciate old Cat though, man. You guys, some of you Miami people in the comments, welcome to the show. You guys are on a heater right now.
It is what it is.
I mean, people say like, "Oh, Miami's defense is clearly better than like, Ohio State. They dominated Ohio State." The refs in the media and Vegas have chosen. I'm not trying to be rude to some of the comments here, but that Vegas and the media have picked Indiana and they've decided to crown them champions is so antithetical to all that sports stands for.
You want to
these outcomes are not decided. These outcomes are not decided.
You want to also know why some of this is happening? Is because people cannot wrap their brains around the front of their jersey that says Indiana. That's why this is happening.
They don't know how to handle it.
No,
and to be fair, as we started the show, a dominant Indiana team with no 5 stars and a coach from James Madison being one of the greatest teams of all time is not something any of our brains have ever had to comprehend. We've never had to understand.
Ed Orgeron won a national championship.
Larry Coker won a national championship. Gene Chizik won a national championship.
Right. Like what are we doing here? Okay.
I worked with Gene for years. He's a perfectly nice guy, not an elite coach.
No. Right. No, I'm just saying we could go down a list here if we really wanted to of coaches and be like, why is that person like so just
Les Miles won a national championship. Les Miles was
Miami fans are cocky, and I get it. And congratulations, you've got a really good defense. I don't trust your quarterback. So, and I trust Indiana's quarterback. And once you get past the Crimson Indiana on the jersey, okay, just ask the Oregon fans that left at halftime, and I counted them leaving the stadium on Friday night.
This is a great point by Jess. Never in my life did I think that SEC and ACC fans would bitch about Indiana bias. The media's just biased. Everyone's biased towards Indiana. That was funny. Good job, Jess.
It's such a good story. We got to have Indiana. Please finish it. No, the story, the best story out of all of it would have been Ole Miss winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I guess.
I could go 1A, 1B with Indiana.
Yeah, I think Indiana's a pretty great story. I mean,
no, I agree. I'm just saying.
What's everybody's saying that Ole Miss is way better than Indiana in the comments is you're losing me on that one too. Like I don't understand how you could say that Ole Miss was better than Indiana, like in any conceivable way. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss is better than Fernando Mendoza. I agree, but he's not. But like, Ole Miss wasn't better than Indiana by no metric.
Wise, no.
Right, like metrics, win-loss record, how they perform, like none of it. And by the way, Miami, this is what makes Miami an interesting story if they do pull the upset, which is the Miami story is unprecedented. They were the third best team in their own conference based on ACC tiebreaker rules.
Y'all forget Duke won a championship this year.
They should never have been in the playoff in the first place. Like in any other format, they're not even sniffing this opportunity. So this is also a great story because in the 4-team playoff, none of these teams are here other than Indiana. Oregon's not even here. They're number 5.
It's Mario Cristobal finishing his own story of coming back to Miami and winning a title.
I will say I have changed my opinion to some degree on Mario Cristobal because I've always thought he was a great roster management guy, a great recruiter, great at talent acquisition, loves Miami, of course. That's his baby. But the amount of things that he used to screw up, he's not doing that in games right now, although we could argue that they went away from he should have leaned on Shannon Dawson a little bit more maybe in that game against Ole Miss. But you got to give him credit for building a great staff. I think his coordinators are awesome. You got to give him credit for sort of culture building and motivational tactics because they came out as an underdog and beat A&M, as an underdog and beat Ohio State, 2 teams that were absolutely better in the regular season than Miami. Like a quarterback who threw 6 interceptions and 2 losses to 2 unranked teams. Like, you got to give him credit for the culture, the motivation, the CEO, the recruiting, the roster management, and the staff building. I still don't want him making game day decisions in games, but I will say, good job, Mario Cristobal. I'm impressed.
And I want to prepare everybody for a storyline that's going to garner a lot of headlines starting Friday. Yes, Mario Cristobal and Fernando Mendoza's father did play high school basketball with each other. Yeah. Okay. So I want to prepare you, like, the stories are coming, why Miami didn't take Fernando Mendoza from Cal and how it's a shot at him. And because Fernando grew up 1 mile away from Hard Rock Stadium, just prepare yourself. There's going to be an overload of that shit this weekend.
No, I know. It's really interesting that both coaches can play the "we're disrespected" card. Although Cignetti's gonna he's starting to do like the rat poison Nick Saban Kirby Smart thing. Yes. You remember when Kobe Dean came out at the beginning of a year at SEC Media Days and was like, everybody's picking us to be 7-5, and we're all like, what? No one's picking you to. Everyone's picking you to win the SEC.
Where'd that come from?
Talking about?
You're right. Where'd your disrespect come from? I don't remember printing that.
It's hard to sell to your locker room that no one believes in you, that you're the underdog when you are a 9-point favorite over a major brand in the national championship game, and everyone is picking you to win. Harder to sell.
It was interesting to hear Fernando talk about that. Like, they're trying to keep the underdog mentality within the locker room. He said that to us at media night the other day. Not going to last. You're not going to get that kind of, help from the media when it comes to that, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, Godspeed.
All right. What ML Rose, everybody. I am a chicken wings during a championship game, like, traditionalist. I have to have chicken wings during my national championship, or my the Packers are playing in a playoff game. God, don't remind me on Saturday night. I'm a chicken wings guy. What do you, for Super Bowls and for national championships, if you're college basketball, whatever, you're watching a big game at home, ML Rose has some of the best wings in the city, so make sure you go check out ML Rose. What is your food of choice during a championship type game?
It's probably wings and a sandwich, to be honest with you. Like an oven toasted type of sandwich.
A panini. You're a panini guy.
Right. Like a panini, okay. Going simple. I don't want to overload it. And by the way, I will be eating alone during these events. I do not want people talking to me while I'm trying to watch these events, unless I'm at a big group setting.
I can't watch Super Bowls at Super Bowl parties. I can't.
No, God, no,
fun. No fun.
Absolutely not. If I get invited, no. And my friends know not to invite us to the Super Bowl party. I'm not hanging with you.
Yeah. So I have to watch Packers games with just my wife and kids. I can't do it with like other or my dad and my brother who are.
I mean, at least you don't have to watch them anymore this year.
No, well, easy, buddy, easy. But I was at my buddies who are Indiana grads. They picked up the kids from school yesterday for me. I had a meeting later in the evening yesterday, so I go to pick them up. Cool. I went to pick them up from the house, and I was like, hey, my guy, what? Like, I assume you need to be alone in like a small padded room to watch your Hoosiers on Monday night, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't think I can come over and watch the game with you, Braden. I was like, no, I don't expect you to.
No,
I don't want to ruin your experience. You need to be totally zeroed in and focused. It's game time for you, man.
Right. Just go pick up some wings and ML Rose. Maybe have a craft beer while you're waiting, or whatever your selection is. And they
do have good Sandies also. You can get some good Sandies.
That's just kind of how I'm not a pizza guy. I'm not, I'll do some wings. Like, if I'm at home by myself, I'll throw a steak on the grill. Like,
I do like a slider buffet, where you got like little ham sandwiches, little turkey sandwiches, little salami sandwiches. Like, I like a nice slider tray,
But I'm not spending 4 hours to make a freaking dip to bring over or anything like that. Not happening.
Yeah. No, I agree. Some cheese dip would be pretty good. I'd go for some chips and some cheese dip and some queso. A seven layer dip. Pretty good.
Not bad. It's not bad. It's
all day. All day. Spicy buffalo chicken wings is all I want, though. That's my number one. That's what I need to have for a championship.
See, I go with the garlic parm, but that's just me.
Oh, what a loser! That's such beta. That's such a beta move.
It's not a beta.
You don't
move.
like spicy?
I look. I want my bowels to make it for 4 hours.
How's your motility, Trey?
It's pretty good, well. It's pretty damn good right now, buddy.
All right, man. All right. Safe travels down to Miami. Everybody enjoy the weekend. Should be a lot of fun. By the way, if you are watching on the 440 Sports YouTube page, which I hope you all are, many of you are, as I see, I'm going to have a long form, not a long form, but a video with Ryan McGee, who's covering the game. We're going to have Ryan McGee interview. We're going to have Bill Connolly breaking down the metrics on this matchup. So we have a lot of Indiana and Miami content coming this week. So come over to the.
You got
the
my
page,
boy Ryan McGee coming up.
subscribe. My boy Ryan McGee, fellow alumni.
My boy,
fellow. You're a Mobile guy. You're not an East Tennessee guy like us. Come on.
Okay, we're NASCAR.
We're
NASCAR people. Okay,
you can't claim lower out. You can't claim L.A., Lower Alabama, and East Tennessee at the same time.
What do I get to claim? The Birmingham Stallions head coach AJ McCarron? Like that's what I get to claim?
God,
the Senior Bowl.
What a glorious chest plate. Back when the internet was fun. Back when the internet memes were fun.
You know what else I can claim, though? We started Mardi Gras, so kiss my ass.
That's true. I'm going down to Mobile, of course, for the Senior Bowl.
You're going to be with me in Mobile?
Are you going to be down there?
It's my hometown. Yeah,
no, I know. Remember you gave me all the food wrecks last time.
I know. Yeah. No, definitely.
Mobile's
going to be fun. Felix's Fish Camp. You got the bluegill on the causeway.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. There were better ones in town, I found, actually.
I know there was. I just
Hummingbird
to keep them from you.
Hummingbird Way was fantastic.
On the Cafe Royale.
Dumbwaiter. Dumbwaiter.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Dumbwaiter was really good. The Carolina Panthers.
Jerry Jones. Go to the Ruth Chris.
Oh God, it's so beta. That's so basic.
You know what? I spilled a whole tray of food on Jerry Jones back in my high school days. Waitering at Ruth Chris.
That's so fun. Of course, the owner. The fact that Jerry Jones goes to Ruth Chris is it's so predictable and boring.
I know, dude. It really is.
No, I was Dumbwaiter's
shit either.
Dumbwaiter's unbelievable. I was in there with the entire Atlanta Falcons coaching staff and the entire Carolina Panthers coaching staff because I was by myself sitting at the bar and I'm just like, "Hey, Dave Canales."
It gets crazy at the Senior Bowl, man.
It's so much fun. Yeah, we were out late with the Titans coaching staff. That's for sure. Because I cover the Titans. But anyway, lots of good content on the 440 Sports YouTube page. We are going to have tons of NFL draft coverage as well. So if you're a fan of non-Titans content, we're going to have a ton of NFL draft coverage as well. So make sure you stay tuned. Outkick.com, of course, for all of Trey's work. You can follow him on the interwebs as well. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. We do appreciate it. ML Rose, everybody. Enjoy the national championship game and stay tuned for more awesome college football content from 440 Sports. Peace and love, everybody.